Hi everyone, we are the Group 1 and our topic is basically about understanding of HTTP protocol. Since I was assigned on the introduction part, I will just give you a quick overview of what is HTTP. So HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. What do you mean by that? It means a request and response protocol. It is a communication protocol between clients and servers. It is an application protocol for www, or what we call the World Wide Web. HTTP protocol, which allows the fetching of resources, it is said to be a stateless protocol. Why? Because the first thing that really happens the moment that you open your browser through google.com or let's say facebook.com, the client or let's say the computer or web browser or any device that you guys are using, it sends a request to the server for a data. And whenever the client or the computer sends a request to the server, it forgets after that. It doesn't really remember anything because it doesn't really sit there for a while until the response comes back. And because of that, the communication becomes stateless because the device is not really expecting a data, but it's just sending a request to the server. Now, it is a server's duty to get the IP address of that particular device, and it sends back the data it really wants. So this protocol becomes stateless protocol because no one is really expecting anything from each other. After the transmission, the connection has been closed and you have to restart the connection or the communication if you want something from the server. Because as I've said, the connection has been closed already. And the device doesn't really remember anything that the server is sending, and the other way around. So I hope you learned something from it, and after this video you'll be able to understand what is HTTP protocol and how it will work.
HTTP is a client-server protocol. Requests are sent by one entity, the user agent, or a proxy on behalf of it. Most of the time, user agent is a web browser, but it can be anything. For example, a robot that crawls the web to populate and maintain a search engine index. Each individual request is sent to a server, which handles it and provides an answers, called the response. Between the client and the server, there are numerous entities collectively called proxies, which perform different operations and act as gateways or caches. In reality, there are more computers between a browser and the server handling the request. For example, the modems or routers. These are hidden in the network and transport layers. HTTP is on top at the application layer. The client or the user agent is any tool that acts on behalf of the user. This role is primarily performed by the web browser. Other possibilities are programs used by engineers and web developers to debug their applications. On the opposite side, channel is the server, which serves the document as requested by the client. A server appears as only a single machine virtually. A server is not necessarily a single machine, but several server software instances can be hosted on the same machine. Between the web browser and the server, numerous computers and machines relay the HTTP messages. Due to the layered structure of the web stack, most of these operate at the transport network on physical levels, becoming transparent at the HTTP layer and potentially making a significant impact on the performance. Those operating at the application layers are generally called proxies. In some way, before passing it along the server, proxies may perform numerous functions such as caching, filtering, load balancing, authentication, and logging.
There are four basic aspects of HTTP. First, HTTP is simple, designed to be simple and human readable. can read and understood by humans, providing easier testing for developers and reduce complexity for newcomers. Second, HTTP is extensible. Headers make this protocol easy to extend and experiment with. Third, HTTP is stateless but not sessionless. It is called a stateless protocol because each request is executed independently. And lastly, HTTP connections. TCP is reliable and UDP isn't. HTTP therefore relies on the TCP standard, which is connection based.
What can be controlled by HTTP? This extensible nature of HTTP has over time allowed for more control and functionality of the web. Capture authentication methods were functions handled early in HTTP history. The ability to relax the origin constraint, by contrast, has only been added in 2010. Here is a list of common features controlled with HTTP. Number 1. Caching. How documents are cached can be controlled by HTTP. The server can instruct proxies and clients about what to cache and for how long. The client can instruct intermediate cache proxies to ignore the stored document. Relaxing the origin constraint to prevent snooping and other privacy invasions. Web browsers enforce strict separation between websites. Only pages from the same origin can access all the information of the page. Though such constraint is a burden to the server, HTTP headers can relax the strict separation of the server side, allowing a document to become a patchwork of information sourced from different domains. There could even be security-related reasons to do so. Number 2. Authentication. Some pages may be protected so that only specific users can access them. Basic authentication may be provided by HTTP, either using www authenticate and similar headers, or by setting a specific session using HTTP cookies. Number 3. Proxy and tunneling. Servers or clients are often located in intranets and hide their true IP address from the other computers. HTTP requests then go through proxies to cross the network barrier. Not all proxies are HTTP proxies. The SAX protocol, for example, operates a lower level. Other protocols like FTP can be handled by these proxies. Number 4. Sessions. Using HTTP cookies allows you to link requests with the state of the server. This creates sessions despite basic HTTP being a stateless protocol. This is useful not only for e-commerce shopping baskets, but also for any sites allowing configurations of the output.
Based on HTTP. A web API is an application programming interface for either a web server or a web browser. It is a web development concept, usually limited to a web application client sides, and thus usually does not include web server or browser implementation details such as SAPI or API is unless publicly accessible by a remote web application. A server-side web API is an programming interface consisting one or more publicly exposed endpoints to defined request-response message system, typically expressed in JSON or XML, which is exposed via the web, most commonly by means of an HTTP-based web server. Endpoints. Endpoints are important aspects of interacting with the server-side web APIs, as they specify where resources lie that can be accessed by a third party, usually a party software. The access is via a URL to which HTTP requests are posted, and from which the response is thus expected. Endpoints needs to be static. Otherwise, the correct functioning of software that interacts with it cannot be guaranteed. If the location of the server changes, then previously written software will break, as the required resource can no longer be found at the same place. Web API growth and impact. The number of available web APIs has grown consistently over the past years as businesses realize the growth opportunities associated with running on an open platform that a developer can interact with. Programmable Web tracks 9,000 web APIs that were available in 2013 up to 2005. Web APIs have become ubiquitous. There are major software application services that do not offer some form of web APIs. One of the most common forms in interacting with these web APIs is via embedding external resources such as tweets, Facebook, comments, YouTube videos, and etc. Thank you.